Golden Sun Dark Dawn has resisted our efforts to break it for nigh on 10 years or so at this point. We all in the community think that this is a great game, but the lack of significant glitches has just kind of made this a highly optimized casual playthrough, to put it mildly. And while we've enjoyed that as a speedrun, and we think it's a pretty decent speedrun, the lack of glitches certainly hasn't helped the appeal of a game that is already kind of struggling. It may have taken 10 years, but Dark Dawn finally has a significant glitch, and it might be the most significant glitch outside of the stuff that happens at Treachery. But before we get into what this glitch is, let's look at how we got here. On the 13th of June 2021, Felissa was poking around in Dark Dawn just trying to break things. Now, Felissa has a history with breaking games. She was the person who found the infinite climb glitch in Golden Sun 1 and realized you can queue up actions and all kinds of fun things like that. So she has some experience doing this. Unsurprisingly, she found something. Near Champa, there is a seam. A seam being the join of two map files or two geometric objects, and the seam was wide open. She could see a little black space in the seam near Champa. She ran herself into the seam, and Matthew went through it. Suddenly, a game which had only ever had the Endless Wall glitch to fall back on had two glitches. Endless Wall, and the Valor Seam, as we're now calling it. This got people incredibly excited. The fact that there was the potential to go through objects if there was a seam spurred on a hunt to try and find the seams. So myself, Regnatraze, and Felissa went hunting for these seams, and we came up short. We found them, they just didn't work. And then the next day I woke up and Felissa had found a new clip. Somehow she had clipped onto a river right to the left of Carver's camp. Insane. This is absolutely game breaking. This is a skip that skips the Synergy training grounds. It wasn't before long that Regnatrace had a consistent setup. It wasn't before long that we realized that actually this point here was Endless Wall-esque. You could save and quit. You would fall through the map. That in itself is significant. Two places where Endless Wall-like behavior was found. We had no idea what was up next. And the fact that there were now 3 places that the game could be broken in, it spurred us on to say there's got to be more. There has to be more. And then it happened. I was messing around with a bridge near Ayute, and I clipped out of bounds. And this bridge, this miracle bridge, clipped us out of bounds, and we were in the river and we could do things. We now had everything we needed. We could do Synergy training ground skip. We could get into Morgul early. We could skip all of Craggy Peak just from these 2 skips alone. We messed around with it for the rest of the day, and we called it quits. We couldn't do any more with what we had. Effectively, we didn't understand what was going on, but we had enough. This was exciting. We had just literally shaved 40-ish minutes off the run at least without doing anything. Just these two massive skips. After evaluating all of the bridges in the game, we gave up for a bit, called it a day again. And then a user on Twitter, Fulgur, he tweeted at me. He said, actually, I have another clip right near Carver's camp, right near the wall where Felissa had just run through. So we go and evaluate the Goma clip, the Goma Highlands clip, sorry, it's not Carver, it's Goma Highlands. And before long, we have a consistent setup to get out of the bridge near Goma Highlands, and boom, 2 bridges. There has to be more than 2 bridges that are exhibiting very similar behavior. One by one, the bridges just started falling. We had clips on almost every bridge in AJ before the end of the day. We had a clip near Carver's camp, which is now one of the most important clips. Regnatrace was able to find a clip near the Flint cutscene. We were being as greedy as we liked. A combination of myself, Felissa, Regnatrace, and Fulgur, we broke every bridge in the game except for Morgul. And that's disappointing. Morgul is kind of interesting because it's probably the one area of the game which is kind of insulated from everything else. There's no way in after the before crossing Craggy Peak. There's no way out, no way back in after the Grave Eclipse, so it's kind of isolated. So we turned our attention to the bridges. There's a couple bridges, and could we break them all? And we came up short. Unfortunately, we came up short. We gave up. Like we had clips on most bridges at this point, but we'd found one at Yamata, for instance. This one here at Yamata that was just super convenient, but we couldn't get into Morkel. We called it a day. And then Rignatrace comes back and he's like, I've got one. He found a clip near the border town bridge way up north near Gears. And that was it. We could clip out of bounds everywhere in the game. And it turns out there is no more points of no return. We can do whatever we like. It's insane. These days, even this border town bridge clip is out of date. Now we have a clip near Tep Ruins, which is more of a seam clip than a bridge clip, but it's now the method of choice to get out of bounds. We also have this clip near Teraya, which has turned out to be very important to our routing, and we also learned of this neat behavior where you can get endless wall type behavior in many places near the endless wall itself, just simply by saving and quitting, as in this Teraya clip. This no clip behavior was also observed if you simply just run up endless wall and then run down it. And this enables a kind of a no clip state, which just very seriously breaks a Morgul more than it already was, and this is now a mainstay of the things that we're doing in the route. Speaking of, let's get into that. So right from the outset, we knew the old record was dead. The old record by Legrand was sitting around 7 hours. Both myself and Velissa have done runs. We're already getting high fives. Velissa currently has the record at 554. I have a 555. We both expect to get 5-3x's in the very near future. As soon as Chaos Chimera Operator behaves, it's going to be fine. Key to all of this is early Sveta. So what you're seeing now is the way in which we get early Sveta. We clip into Tep Ruins and then basically death warp out with Sveta still in our party, and that way she stays in our party. As long as you don't death warp to Teraya, in this case we're going to death warp to Harappa, spoilers, we keep Sveta in our party. That gives us Sveta all through the early game, in particular in the AJ region. That's the region with the Sand Prince and the Ice Queen and all that stuff. Sveta comes to us at level 22 with 5 Jin. That's horrifically busted. Like, this is like equivalent of getting level 28 Isaac with 1,000,000 Jin instead of the Soul Blade and TLA. It's nuts. The power that this has is unreal. Those 5 extra Jin give us the ability to do double Thor against bosses, and that extra Thor basically means every fight lasts 2 turns or less. Most bosses only getting 1 action. Insanity. The whole reason we do this with Sveta is because having Slap is one of the progression gating synergies, and Slap is going to allow us to get into Balinsk a separate way. So what we do is we go through the early game, we do all the normal stuff, we skip over the things that we skipped over, so we skip Synergy Training Grounds, we skip the Goma, Kava, all that stuff, we skip all of that, we skip the end of Compa Ruins, we get Reef through a different mechanism. We get it through doing this clip here in Harappa, clip here in Passage, where Reef temporarily leaves our party, then comes back and surprise, Reef is in our party. So we do all that, we do the alchemy machines, then we do this clip here into Colima. That takes us straight to Sludge. So we skip out Zodiac, we skip out Port Rego, we skip out all that stuff, we just go straight to Colima, get Crush. Once we get Crush, we do a no clip. That no clip takes us back into Talon. Once we're in Talon, then we can do Talon, we get the Magma Orbs. Then we do this slap here into the Balinsk Ruins, and this is going to get us the boat, the blue orb, and do all those nice things. The boat and blue orb both being significant progression items that are required to finish the speedrun. And that whole thing is just insane. It saves an unfathomable amount of time, well, a lot of time, over 40-30 minutes and whatnot, and that's just huge. The other thing that we do is in the end game, we do this Yamata clip that I'm showing off right now. That's kind of huge, not because it saves, like, it allows skips. It does it a little bit, but not really. The big thing is it doesn't have encounters, so there's no encounters on the water, so you can just basically move freely and do whatever you like. and that saves a ton of encounters, which is just ridiculous, which is now speeding up the end game quite considerably. There's also some clips into Apollo Ascent, which kind of skips the entire endless ball sequence, which is super fast. So, at this point, pretty much every bridge has been broken. This game is real fast. We're skipping tons of stuff. We're saving over an hour already on the speedrun, with more time still to be saved. This would not have been possible without the work of myself, Felissa, Regnatrace, Fulgur. The amount of time and effort we spent on this over the last little while is ridiculous, and it's all kind of come together in a really satisfying way with these early looks for the route. Dark Dawn truly has a bright future with these skips. It's now an incredibly exciting run. It was a good run before, it's just improved by these glitches. It's really, really a sight to behold. Check out the links in the description for all of the reference material. Check out how to do these clips. You can do them yourself. They're not that difficult once you get used to them. Get rid of those points of no return in your casual playthrough if you must. And yeah, look at just what has happened to this game. Thank you once again to this amazing community for their persistence in trying to break this game. Felissa, Regnatrace, Fulgur, none of this would have been possible without you guys, and let's get running, because I'm excited.